What's up, everybody? Y'all come on in. What's up, Portia? What's up, new? Y'all come on in. What's up, Crystal? What's up, Bobby? Y'all come on in. What's up, Astrid? What's up, Alexis? Alright, we'll give another minute, y'all. We'll get started. What's up, Prince? What's up, Gigi? All right. How about we get started? How about we go? My bad, y'all. Got a call. But yeah, how about we get started? Now, we're going to talk about the Necronomicon. How about that? How about we talk about the Necronomicon? Yep. Let's go in today. What's up, Crystal? So, what is the Necronomicon? $1 million people, which is the $1 million question. Like, what is it, Marvin? You know, we hear so much about it, but what really is it? Well, Necronomicon is another way of saying the Book of the Dead. You see what I'm saying? Another Book of the Dead. Now, you notice there's a whole bunch of Book of the Dead. Now, if we look back at it, you got the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, you got the Tibetan Book of the Dead, then you got the Al-Azif, which is the Arabic Book of the Dead, which is this book here by Donald Tyson, The Wanderings of Abdul al-Hazred, and it's called the Al-Azif, which means the howling demons or howling spirits, basically. So that's what it means. So when they translated this into Greek, they called it the Necronomicon. You see what I'm saying? From Greek, and then went to Latin, and that's how they got his name. Now, H.P. Lovecraft, later on, who was an American horror writer, would go on to produce his own version of it, an Americanized version of it, which he called the Necronomicon. You see what I'm saying? Which will later on be called Necronomicon once they compiled all his works and put it into one document, one book. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you got going on here. So this Book of the Dead just keep following us, no matter where we go, no matter what era, no matter what timeline, and it keeps updating itself over and over again, and it manifests itself in every culture. So now we got an Americanized Book of the Dead, an Arabic and a Greek version of the Book of the Dead. Like, the Book of the Dead was so powerful, Necronomicon was so powerful in fucking Greece, that the Christians, Constantinople and everybody, the dude who was writing it, shit, they murked that nigga. They murked that nigga after he translated it. They was like, why the fuck is you translating this? Why? Why is the Christians so opposed to the Necronomicon? The reason why the Christians, what's up, Dawg? What's up, Brian? The reason why the Christians are so opposed to it, because in the Hebrew Bible, what does Yah the boy say he is? He says, and I quote, "I am the God of the living." He's not a God of the dead. What does it mean to be a God of the dead? That means to be a God of souls. You see what I'm saying? Dead just equate to souls. You see what I'm saying? Why does dead equate to soul? Because if Yah the boy is the God of the living, and you die here, well, the dead is actually immortality. Or, yeah, what we call death is transition. But when you're dead, you're immortal because your soul is free from the confines of this physical prison or apparatus that has been compromised by Yaldabaoth and his archonic host and his archonic means, whether it be Constantinople at that time, or the Jesuit priests now, and the Boule and all these other motherfuckers, right? So this is what you got going on. So literally, the Necronomicon is literally the Book of Souls. You see what I'm saying? Go check out the last Scorpion King movie. They called it. It was another reference to the Book of the Dead, but it was called the Book of Souls. You see what I'm saying? So that's the secret to what these books are. And they keep finding their way into infiltrate each culture, no matter what the cycle is, no matter what's going on, no matter what's fucking happening. You see what I'm saying? So this is what you got going on here. This is what you got going on. So let me grab this for a second. Let me grab this. So, the Necronomicon, which means the exposition, teachings of the ways of the dead or the ways of the soul. What is it about these books of the dead, and why are they so hated? The answer is that the Hebrew Christian God is not a God of the dead, but a God of the living. So Yaldabaoth, has no control over the forces of the dead or the soul. He has no control over the primordial soul. i.e. the ancestors, death gods, demonic forces, and gods of chaos, or simply the great old ones, and even the angelic forces. You see what I'm saying? The primordial angelic forces. What up, Brandon? The primordial angelic forces, not the demonic, not the world rulers who have cut themselves off from the pleroma due to their rebellion. They were the ones who rebelled against the pleroma originally, the first war in heaven. You see what I'm saying? The first war in the heavens was they as rebelling against the pleroma. See what I'm saying? So do what you got going on here. Y'all boy has no control over your divine spark, your primordial soul, your immortal consciousness, your immortal techniques. You see what I'm saying? He has no control over that. He has no control, which is why he hates the soul, because the soul is a constant reminder of. It's a constant reminder to him that there is something that exists prior to his creation. This what you got going on here. So now, let's get into this. Let's start with the original, the original adaptation of this version of Necronomicon, or H.P. Lovecraft's version of Necronomicon, where he got his inspiration from, right? He got inspiration from this particular book here, which is Al-Azif, which is the Arabic version of the Book of the Dead. So let's get into it. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see here. Now, here we go. The prefatory notes by Olaus Wormius, anno 1228, or annotated or written 1220 in the year 12, the year of their Lord 1228. So let's begin here. Regarding the work known as to the Greeks, the Necronomicon, or transcripted into the Latin letters Necronomicon, having become exceedingly rare and difficult to procure, and then only to be had at great price, it seemed no unworthy task to translate it into the Latin tongue. Not that it matters off its matter offers anything to edify the mind, to provide moral instruction. For its contents exceed in wickedness all other books in its contents exceed in wickedness over all other books in Christendom, only for the reason that it holds secret wisdom that will surely pass away were this book to fall prey to worms or the fires of the Caesarians, as seems likely will occur to those few Greek texts that survive, and that within the term of those presently dwelling in the land, the clergy of late railing against the accursed book as written by Satan himself. You see what I'm saying? Who is the Satan? Your soul. You see what I'm saying? Your soul. The true author of the text, I will let the scribe Theodorus Philetus, that's who they killed when he transcribed this from Arabic into Greek, and from Greek to Latin. Known as the wise, Theodorus Philetus, known as Theodorus the Wise, to history relate in due course in his opening words of the Greek manuscript. That is the source for my rendering. Here it is my purpose to expound on the nature of the book, and to relate the unfortunate circumstances surrounding the death of the worthy Theodorus, above named. His death in itself is a sufficient warning to the idle curious, for this work is suitable only for the deepest intellects wedded to Christ, or the Christ consciousness, or the soul consciousness in the Holy Spirit, which is your holy life force. You see what I'm saying? Your solar life force will corrupt all who seek to turn its arcane lore to base ends. It is a sword poisoned with nightshade that cuts the hand that seeks to seize it. But one with godly purpose and subtle touch may cradle it like a sleeping serpent without receiving its venom. Only he who has no love for it can use it. The veritable sense of the title of this work is commonly misunderstood and spoken by those ignorant of Greek roots. It is from vekpus, something like that, signifying corpse, and from vo'u, that has the sense of law or custom. Hence, Necronomicon has the meaning, the expositing of the ways of the dead, or the teachings of the ways of the dead. And what is intended is the control and working of the dead soul through the sorcery of corpses that bears the common name of necromancy. The ways of the dead and secret matters known only to the dead and those with whom they have dealings are here set forth in such abundance as exists in no other book. Upon these leaves are to be found accounts of living creatures beyond the high spheres of lost cities and other places forgotten by the memory of mankind. Yet more pernicious still, the manner of summoning souls of the dead back into their mortal clay and eliciting from them by means of torment secrets that lie hidden at the roots of the world, in dark caverns and beneath the depths of the sea. Here also are instructions on the making of things quickened with a semblance of life that were better left unmade but cannot be unmade having been created. All of which would be reason to co-sign this book to the depths of hell, the grave. Were it not the beings of fair potency dwelling between the stars offering threat to the very continuance of our race. They talking about their race. Ought to be in some, or the human race, or humanity, or the human energy, ought to be in some way controlled by the teachings of this evil work. So in the devil's machinations lie the practical tools of our salvation on that dreaded day. They talking about Judgment Day, which by the grace of our Lord shall never come when the stars are right and the gates are open, the portals. To return to the most diligent and learned Theodorus, he completed the Greeking of this book in the city of Constantinople. For know you that the elder copies were all in the tongue of Mohammed, which is Arabic, and the title was not Necronomicon but Al-Azif, supposed to signify in that language the sound of insects heard in the night, but vulgarly expressed as the howling of demons or spirits. Seeing the night sounds of the desert were mistaken for demon voices by the heretic nomads of those lands, but Theodorus gives a different rendering from the Arab, which I will leave for your eyes to discover. So, Theodorus, who was called the Wise for his devotion to arcane learning, tells that he made translation of the work from the single copy in the Arab script that survived the worms, and to me came much richer fare, for I have had the good fortune during my lifetime to have passed through my hands 3 manuscripts of the Greek text, and of the truest of these paid to have a fair copy made, which I compare in every detail with the original. From the Greek copy, the present Latin word was derived with all due care, and it is my promise to you who read these words that nothing of the original text was excised, nor anything added by way of gloss, for it is often the case that those who copy are not content but must comment on the work, and for this reason many of the manuscripts of the books are corrupted by the words of other men unknown to the composer. Reports having spread throughout Constantinople of the nature of this book, which was never seen in Christendom prior to its rendering into Greek, raised such a hue and cry against the word of Theodorus by the clergy and the population of the city that he was forced to stand on the steps of the great church and denounce the work of his own hands as devilish, and to publicly beg forgiveness of Christ for his sins, and then to burn the parchment bearing his translation. For this act of contrition, the people of Constantinople were mollified and ceased to call for his death. Yet his book did not die, for other copies had been made, and these spread abroad and multiplied under numerous pens. For the lust to possess so rare and strange a work was great, but be it never so damning to the soul, and so it continues to this day. The fate of Theodorus is well known, how he lost his wealth and lands, forfeited his honors in the emperor's court, saw his wife and 3 sons taken by plague in the space of a single season, and succumbed to the most horrible of afflictions, the disease of life. It is writ by pious scribes of the church that as punishment for rendering the Necronomicon into the Greek tongue, he was forsaken by God and the angels, and knew no day that did not bring misfortune. So great is the power of this book over the souls of the sinful, for only the godly may read it and remain whole in the body and spirit. Let me tell you what they're talking about here. The reason why Theodorus was fucked up, number one, he denounced the Necronomicon publicly. So he turned his back on the ancient gods. That's strike 1. Strike 2, because he denounced those energies, he didn't have a protection from them. So Yaldabaoth and the Archons whooped his ass for the rest of his life. They destroyed him. You see what I'm saying? Because remember, they programmed the Matrix to attack anything that goes against their way of life, their programming. So that's what happened here. That's That's how he got fucked up. So yeah. So there goes the story of Theodorus Philetus. Now, let's get to the man himself. Let's see. Anything else I want to read? No. We gonna get to. Okay, here we go. Something I need to read to y'all. In this place, I make no argument as to the wisdom of causing to be more prolific a book that an honored father, the Holy Church, sought to expunge from the earth. My conscience is in harmony with the love of our Lord. Only this much I will say, that knowledge once lost is lost forever, and who may judge that one teaching shall be useful in time of need, and another shall bear no value to men forevermore. May there not come a time when secret knowledge is sorely needed to fight the armies of darkness. Yet, if all the books that teach it are burned, let men search in vain for the instrument of their salvation. So keep you all copies made of this land text chained and locked. Let no man who read it speak of its contents. Let no man who knows of its reveal its existence to the ignorant, who are unfit to carry so grave a burden. Before God and his angels made the soul be damned of him who seeks to practice what is written in these leaves, for he has damned himself by the mere temptation to so horrible an act of defilement. But his eyes were put out with glowing coals from the fire, and his lips sewn tight with flaxen thread, that he should read aloud the words in a book written in a forgotten tongue that was never meant to be spoken by the sons of Adam, but only by the others who have no mouths, and who dwell in the shadows between the stars. So what do they mean by that? They said you need this information in this day and time to fucking deal with these archonic forces. That's basically what they saying here. So let no man who still operating up under the frequencies of Yaldabaoth and his archonic host, i.e. Christianity, i.e. Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and all other isms that's working for the Pope and the Jesuits and everybody else on this planet, slowly fucking you over. You see what I'm saying? So anybody who working for that, they can't touch this, because they touch it, they may get set on fire. You see what I'm saying? Cause this shit here ain't to be fucked with unless you ready to rain down hell and destruction on your enemies. So the armies of darkness is actually Yaldabaoth's armies. You see what I'm saying? It's Yaldabaoth's armies here. So this is what you got going on here. So now, who is Abdul al-Hazred? You see what I'm saying? Let's read a little bit of his story here. By Theodorus Philetus, anno, or annotated in the year of their Lord 950. The maker of this book, to which I give the Greek title Necronomicon, is more descriptive of its contents than its old styling, was born to a humble house in the city of Sanaa in the land of Yemen. His family name has been lost, but he is universally known by the title Abdul al-Hazred, signifying in the Arabian tongue the servant of the devourer. Nor is the date of his birth known, but his death is said to have occurred in the year of our Lord 738, when he was in the extremity of old age. In early youth he found renown both for piety as a faithful follower of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, Islam, and for poetic invention. He is reported to have been handsome in face, with uncommonly white skin and green eyes that caused wonder at his birth, seeing that his father was dark in both face and eye. So his father was black, but he was albino. You see what I'm saying? He was albino. So that's what's going on here. That's why he had white skin. If his father was black, then he was albino. You see what I'm saying? Talk arose that his mother had lain with a jinn while crossing the desert by caravan on her way to wed. A jinn is just nothing but a nature spirit. But her extreme godliness confounded this rumor. Al-Hazred possessed a body tall and straight, with grace of movement like to that of a fine horse. Most remarkable was his voice. When he recited the words of the prophet, the birds paused in their singing to listen, and desert foxes came forth from their dens and sat upon mounds to hear the teachings of God. Yaldabaoth. Learning of the child wonder within the bounds of his kingdom, the ruler of Yemen summoned Al-Hazred to his court when the boy was in his 12th year. He was so taken with the beauty of the youth, he made offer to Al-Hazred's father to keep the boy with him and have him educated by the same palace tutors who instructed his own sons. In this way, Al-Hazred was raised as a prince of the royal court and had the love of the king as a second father. The only price expected of him was the composition of poetic verses, which he sang for the enjoyment of the king and his counselors. In his 18th year, Al-Hazred began to love one of the daughters of the king. Had he controlled his passion, it is likely that the king might have been persuaded to give his daughter to the young man in marriage. But love knows no boundaries in this reckless course, and Ahasuerus took his pleasure with the girl who conceived the child. The discovery of the affair roused the fury of the king, who had the infant strangled at birth. For his act of betrayal, the poet was punished by mutilation. His viral member, so he was mutilated. He was mutilated, so that means he was fucked up. His viral member, nose, and ears were cut off. Damn. These niggas ruthless. And cheeks scarred. Ahasuerus was compelled to watch the unholy fruit of his union with the princess roasted over embers on a spit, and was made to eat portions of the flesh of the infant corpse. So they set that nigga's child on fire, and then they forced him to eat his own child. Cannibalism. Goddamn. The king hired desert nomads to carry him eastward into the depths of the Roba el Khalil, the empty space as it was known to the ancients, where he was left without water to die. The ordeal cost Ahasuerus his reason, so he went mad. The king had ordered all who traversed that desolation to shun him and refuse him aid, in the expectation that he would soon perish, yet he clung to wretched life. For an unrecorded span of time, he wanted the desert, scorpions, and carrion hawks. He wanted the desert. Scorpions and carrion hawks, his companions by day, and by night the demons who dwell only in such barren and hateful lands. These spirits of darkness taught him necromancy, and led him to discover forgotten caves and wells that run deep beneath the surface of the earth. He renounced his faith and began to worship antediluvian titans, adored by the desert spirits who were his guides and teachers. Pay attention to that part there. He renounced his faith, like most of us have done, and began to worship antediluvian titans, or titans who don't fit the current realm's idea of what God is. That's what antediluvian means. Titans adored by the desert spirits who were his guides and teachers. He embarked on a mad quest to restore the mutilated and excised members of his body, that he might return to Yemen and triumph and claim the princess as his bride. With magic, he disguised his face so that it appeared that of a normal man. With magic, he disguised his face so that it appeared that of a normal man, and abandoned the wasteland to scour the world for arcane wisdom. In Giza, in the land of Egypt, he learned from a secret cult of pagan priests with shaven heads the way of restoring life to corpses and commanding them to do his bidding. In Chaldea, he acquired perfection in the arts of astrology. From the Hebrews at Alexandria, he acquired the knowledge of forgotten tongues, and the use of the voice for the utterance of barbarous words of evocation. For though all his other graces had been stolen away from him by the malice of the king, the beauty and power of his voice remained. So he still had his divine utterance. So after roaming the wide world in search of some magic that would restore his manhood, so they cut off his penis. In bitterness of heart, he was castrated. That's fucked up. In bitterness of heart, he was made to accept his repelling condition, since it could not be mended by any potion or spell or object of power discovered in the course of his wanderings. From his maturity, so he was a living, breathing Asa around his bitch Osiris. From his maturity until the end of his life, Ahasuerus lived within the walls of Damascus in great luxury, freely pursuing his necromantic experiments, but shunned and abhorred by the inhabitants of the city, who regarded him as an evil wizard. It was during his residence at Damascus that he composed a work he titled, in a fit of mad humor, Al-Azif, the chittering of insects, or by another interpretation, the drone of beetles. Yet because of its content, the book was familiarly known as the howling of demons, saying that the night sounds of the desert are mistaken for the cries of spirits by the common peoples at that place. The work was penned during his final decade at Damascus around the year of our Lord, 730. The manner of his death is strange and scarce to be believed, save that it is no more unlikely than the story of his life. It is reported that one day while buying wine in the market square, Ahasuerus was caught up into the air by some invisible creature of great size and strength, and his head, arms, and legs were ripped from his torso and devoured, so that all his body vanished from sight in pieces, leaving only splashes of blood upon the sands. So his own flesh became the final tribute to the dark gods he worshipped. Damn, there you go. There you go. This is what you're dealing with this Necronomicon. So yeah. So that's his story. That's his life. So this you got going on with this necro energy, this book of the dead, you know, this book of souls. You really gotta know what you're doing here, because the teachings are so primal, so chaotic. You see what I'm saying? So when you tap into this energy, you gotta know what it is. Now they usually give you 7 main characters in the book of the dead. You get Yig, who is he half human, half serpent. So he represents the melanated Kundalini force in the book, the Necronomicon. Then you get Yog Sothoth, who represents the Da'af, the melanated portal that allows you to travel from this tree to the next, or this side, the physical realm to the spiritual realms, and soul realms, and so on and so forth. Then you get Cthulhu, who is the primal nigga energy that's locked down at this time due to the stars being misaligned. See what I'm saying? We're going to talk about that in a second. Then you get Azathoth, who represents primal source melanin. You see what I'm saying? Or that dark jazzy intelligence. That empowers and fuels all of creation. You see what I'm saying? Then you get Shub Niggeroth. See what I'm saying? Who is the Baphomet, but it's the feminine aspect of the Baphomet. And it's Sophia's goat form. You see what I'm saying? Sophia's goat form. Then you get Yalotep, who is the melanated trickster. You see what I'm saying? The trickster. You always gotta have a trickster. Because the trickster, through chaos, through a series of chaotic events, leads you onto the path. You can either choose to walk the path, or you can deny it and be fucked up. You see what I'm saying? Then you got Dagon, or Dagon. Yeah, Dagon. And Dagon represents the Lord of the Underworld, or Oannes in the Babylonian. He was the Babylonian fish deity, Oannes, in Babylon. You see what I'm saying? So those are usually the 7 main characters you get. You know, you got multiple places as well. But what I want to talk to y'all about is the chapter where they talk about why the stars are not right. You see what I'm saying? Why the stars are not right. That's on page 205. And then we're going to get into the other book of Necronomicon, H.P. Lovecraft's version. But I had to start with Al Hazred's version so y'all know what it is. You see what I'm saying? This is why we having such a hard time down here, in this Piscean age. Now, the Magi of the Tigris, why the stars are not right. The Magi of the Tigris hold a secret teaching that it is not the parent of the stars that binds Cthulhu in his watery tomb, as is widely believed by sages who have ventured to comment on this matter. Rather, it is the colors of the stars and the complex interaction of their rays that poisons the arid elements of our world. Let me stop right there. That shit there so deep. Y'all don't even know how deep it fucking is. Let me read that one more again. It is the color of the stars, so it's the color frequencies down here right now, in the complex interaction of their rays that poisons the arid elements of our world. Because, like I said, we don't even supposed to be breathing oxygen. We're supposed to be breathing hydrogen, helium, or hydrohelium, right? So we're supposed to be breathing hydrogen and helium or hydrohelium. So, next, they said the color of the stars and the complex interaction of their rays that poisons the arid element of our world, which is the zone between the fiery firmament and the watery abyss. Hence, it is that the old ones can move easily above the air and beneath the waves of the surface of the earth, but not through the air, save only for Yalotep, who is in part immune from the noxious colors out of space, the trickster, the chaos energy. So that's why he has to lead you to these beings, because he's the only one he's the only one inside of you that's immune, the trickster energy. Because what does tricksters do? They create illusions. They create different ways. Their resourcefulness allows them to survive any given situation. That's what you got going on here. So each star has its own color that is distinct from the colors of all other stars. Though these colors can be subtle and difficult to discern, they do not remain fixed and unchanging, but become paler or more intense over the passage of years. Any man who gazes into the sky knows that Mars is red, but it is not always the same red, for at times it is like a ruby, but other times it grows pallid and becomes almost the color of milk. So it is for all the stars, both those that are fixed and those that wander from the place to place, even when the changes in colors are not as easily remarked upon as those of Mars. No astrologer can tell what causes these shifting of colors and amid the stars, but the Magi believe that the great change in the heavens that drove Cthulhu to seek safety in his house on Arlea was a result of a cloud of mist or dust high above the region of fire. Talking about red iron oxide mixed with the oxygen, and they're rusty. You see what I'm saying? So that started to create rust in our energies. So cause this iron, you know, can't be mixed with oxygen, because when iron and oxygen mix, what happens? Iron begins to rust. So this is what you got going on here. The colors of the rays from the stars passing through the veil of dust were tinted as the light of the sun is stained with red or blue or green when it passes through a jewel, and the gates between the stars were obstructed. The old ones do not reside in our world in their natural bodies, but in bodies that have been compounded and composed by the power of their souls. So they talking about avatars. That's what the East Indians call avatars, which have been thrown across the gulf between the stars by the force of their wills. The space portals through which their minds traveled were opened by the colors of the stars striking the earth with their rays. And the Magi believed that when the veil of dust covered the heavens and the colors became impure, those mind gates were in part closed, so that the full power of the seven lords and their lesser brothers and sisters could not awaken and move upon the earth. The seven lords. What are the seven lords? The North Americans, the Mesoamericans, the South Americans. So we already know that they Mesoamerica kind of automatically counted in North and South America. Then you got the other 5 regions of the planet. You see what I'm saying? You got the other 5 regions of the planet, which is Europe, Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Russia. Those are where the 7 lords reside. Cthulhu resides in North America. The Gong resides in Sumeria. Let me see here. Yellowtip resides in Europe. Let's see here. Let me look at their names real quick. Yellowtip resides in Europe. Shub-Niggurath and the Baphomet. They most of the time they're in Africa. Most of the time. Azathoth could be found in South America. And Yog-Sothoth could be found in like Russia somewhere. See what I'm saying? Russia. And Yig could be found in Australia. These were the 7 lords mainly lie. See what I'm saying? That's where they mainly lie. So this is what you got going on here. Let me make sure I got them all. Yeah. So this is what you got going on here. So that's why these energies are so powerful. So this is why these energies are so powerful. Let's see here. It said, in the deep places the old ones concealed their weakened bodies or withdrew through portals in space entirely from this world, to await the passage of dust, all but Yellowtip, who defies the poison of the stars and walk among us beneath the moon. Yet even the crawling chaos cannot for long endure the hideous colors out of space, but must withdraw himself to a place of protection. The gates between the stars can still be open, but open only in part for the transmission of small things and small beings. And it is with utmost difficulty that the old ones use them. And only then at certain times when the colors are not so baneful to their natures. For the poison of the colors of the stars is not constant, but waxes and wanes, and at rare intervals of years it diminishes so greatly that it is almost absent. And the old ones feel strength flow into the bodies they have composed for their souls in this world. That happens every 30 years. Think about it. Every 30 years, something big happens. You see what I'm saying? We start from 1900, which is dealt with World War I. Then you go another 30 years. Let's see, World War I happened in what? 1917, somewhere up in there. Then you go another 30 years, you got World War II. Then you go another 30 years, you had the Revolution in the 60s and 70s. Then you get another 30 years, you had the year 2000. Which was Y2K. The world was supposed to end then, but it was postponed, and then you were supposed to get another 30 years where this shit was supposed to end completely. But because they've been fucking with the timeline, we off about 10 years thanks to these niggas fucking with the timeline. So it's 2020, but 2030 is 2020 because on everybody else's calendar it's 2012, which is when the cycle was supposed to end. So, what you got going on here? Let's see, where was I? Let's see. Yeah, for the poison, the colors of the stars is not constant, but waxes and wanes in rare intervals of years. It diminishes so great that it's almost absent, and the old ones feel strength flowing to the bodies they have composed their souls in this world. Alas, the stars do not remain clean for long, but invariably return to their polluted state, driving the old ones into hide. That's why the Black Panther Party and everybody lost the fucking revolution. That's why the UNIA was infiltrated. Notice, during these time periods, we rise up and then all of a sudden we fall back down. It's because of these energies hitting the planet. Also, not just because of the attacks of the archons, they just know when to attack. They know when these stars realign into their favor, that's when they attack. That's why they let Malcolm X and everybody run rampant for like a decade before they killed him. Because they had to wait till the stars align again before they could kill him. You see what I'm saying? Peep gang here. Peep gang on what's going on here. So, a time is foretold when dust shall pass away from the upper reaches of our world, and the protection offered our race by the taint of colors from the heavens shall be lifted. And the old ones will once again rule our spheres. They rule all other spheres, but when this time shall come, it is not known unless to the old ones themselves. So yeah. And then let's see here, and they start talking about Cthulhu here. The Magi make great experiments in their workshops with polished jewels of different colors, in hope of discovering a weapon of light that shall have the power to mimic the poison of the stellar rays, with the intention of employing it against Cthulhu and his sons should he rise from his tomb at Arlea. For they know full well that when the protective colors of the stars are no more, Cthulhu shall be their greatest foe, which is us. So lustfully did he love the dominion held over our world and its creatures, and so just did he fight against expulsion by the rays from the heavens. He is certain to be the first to gather his strength and seek to conquer anew the lands he ruled of old. So yeah, this is by Donald Tyson. Donald, and Tyson is spelled Tyson. This is The Wanderings of Al Hazred, if y'all want to know the full story. So yeah. Now, let's get into his other book. The 13 Gates of the Necronomicon. Oh, shit. 13 Gates. Now, there's a city of the dead, or a city of souls, that you can travel to. It looks like this. And there are 13 portals, which is represented by the 13 zodiac. There's also a powerful language, which y'all actually can understand if y'all know your sacred geometry and what these angles and means. You see what I'm saying? And it corresponds to the 28 alphabets that we know. And one of them represents U and V. So the downward triangle. So 27 of the alphabets, all 28 alphabets are here, but only one of them represents U and V. But U and V are feminine, represents the womb, which is the downward triangle or the chapters. So there you go. So those power glyphs, which is here, is the language of the dead. And you can actually write out. Just try writing your name in this shit. It's gonna blow your mind. See what I'm saying? Just write out your name in these glyphs, you know. And you just practice that for a little while, and just practice writing sentences, and after a while you'll be writing with this language in no time. It's not a hard language because most of y'all know the hidden meaning of these symbols already, because y'all came across them in y'all study. So they just using these symbols to take it to another level where you can use it as a form of language. So yeah. So here you go. So now let's see here. Where we at here? Let's see. The Necronomicon is a book for necromancers, who are manipulators of Necro, the death force, i.e. summoning ancestors, dark chaotic gods, death gods, and other highly spiritual / soulful forces. Because when you tap into the dark side, it is said that the soul howls with arcane or ancient force. The cities of the dead souls are places that were sealed by our ancestors, so the archons could not get to them and destroy them. The realm of the dead is not known at the not known as the nether realm. Oh yeah. That's another thing. The realm of the dead is not known as the nether realm, but it is called the necroverse. These are the realms of the death walkers, who are ancient ancestors who kept the old ways preserved for future generations while we were in our down cycle. The original Necronomicon created by the ancient Egyptians, then the Arabs, Al-Azif, which are the sole wanderers of Abdul al-Hazred, the mad Arab. Then I already told y'all his story. There's also the Tibetan Book of the Dead as well, which was created by the indigenous black guys and goddesses of that particular realm as well. So it's a Necronomicon for every civilization, or a Book of the Dead for every civilization. Now, let us get to Howard Phillips Lovecraft, or what y'all know as H.P. Lovecraft, who lived from the years of 1890 to 1937. So now, let's see here. Lovecraft's Necronomicon secrets. Lovecraft has 4 aspects to his Necronomicon, y'all. He has the Cthulhu mythos, which is the teachings of the primal nigger sciences, or the melanin sciences and teachings. Or the teachers of the Cthulhu mythos of the primal nigger and niggerette sciences, or melanin sciences, as y'all also call it. Magic, which deals with the wizards and witches and necromancers and all that, manipulating the forces through spell work, ritual work, ceremonies, incantations, talismans, yada 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 yada. You see what I'm saying? Everything that makes up magic, and alchemy. Then you got dream psychomancy, which is the 3rd aspect. That's your ability to completely experience and control other realms through your dreams. Now, unlike lucid dreaming, which is your ability to experience dreams in real time, dream psychomancy take that lucid dreaming to a step further, where you can actually manipulate the dream to its highest heights with your mind. You can alter the dream. You can use your force powers, psychic abilities, and everything in the dream when you're sleeping. This is called dream psychomancy. See what I'm saying? That's why some of y'all dreams so real when you take control of it. You take control of it. So next you got necromancy, which is the 4th level of Lovecraft's Necronomicon, which is necromancy, ways and teachings of the dead or souls / ancestors, which leads to the secrets of immortality, which is your ability to travel and do things with your soul and find out the secrets of soul. You see what I'm saying? So first thing first, let us talk about the great old ones and Cthulhu. Let us go there. Let's see here. The great old ones. Page 34. We're going to get into Cthulhu after that. So I got to hear about these great old ones. Let's see here. Here we go. The old ones were, the old ones are, and the old ones shall be. So wrote H.P. Lovecraft in his short story, The Dunwich Horror. It's part of a longer quotation from al-Hazred's Necronomicon. One of only a handful of direct quotes Lovecraft made from the dreaded book that he had seen during his dreams. From this quotation of al-Hazred's text, we learned that the old ones, are invisible beings who walk between the spaces of men, or as we might say today, between dimensions. So they planeswalkers. They are large and powerful beings because they are described as having the ability to bend the forest and crush the city. So these motherfuckers powerful, right? Which is y'all. Now, peep game, it's y'all. It is not to be supposed that the old ones have left the earth. They are still here, but slightly out of phase with our reality. They share this quality with the fairy race, which is supposed to live in the same places habitated by human beings, but in another dimension that renders their body and their dwellings invisible and intangible except under special conditions. According to al-Hazred, the old ones walk the meadows and stand at the threshold of our houses without us ever being aware of them, save sometimes by a foul odor that they carry with them. The Necronomicon is a real horrifying text. Why? Because you live in a horrifying time. So this Necronomicon here, this Book of the Dead here, is reflecting the horrifying period we're living in. You shit putrid, you do never shit and take piss all day, motherfuckers kidnapping kids, niggas is fucked up, niggas getting raped, so on and so forth. It represents all the fucked up shit that's going on in the world. So the great old ones have this odor, which is representing the toxic carbon and everything that you breathe in and out due to these realms, due to them manipulating the realm to where you're inhaling and exhaling oxygen instead of hydrohelium. So this is all representations of what's happening to you now. You see what I'm saying? Now let us continue here. Let's see here. Let's see. Al-Hazred mentioned several matters concerning these invisible beings. They can be called by seasonal rites and words of power in lonely places. Traditionally in magic, demonic spirits prefer deserts and wastelands where no human beings live. The reason for this is not evident, but wildernesses have always been reputed to be the haunts of evil spirits, particularly in Arabian mythology, but also in the myths and legends of Greece, Rome, and Judea. The link between evil spirits and wasteland goes all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia. Now, when the old ones are ritually called, the wind howls and the earth shakes. They are summoned through a dimensional gate that falls under the authority of a being known as Yog-Sothoth. Now, we talked about Yog-Sothoth. Yog-Sothoth in this particular book, as we mentioned, represents what? The Da'af. See what I'm saying? The Da'af. The melanated portal here, right? So Yog-Sothoth knows where the old ones broke through. Known as Yog-Sothoth. It is through this gate of Yog-Sothoth that the old ones travel from their world to our world and back again. The gate has appearance of multiple intersecting spheres, or lanes, energetic lanes, that you can portal in and out of. Al-Hazred wrote that Yog-Sothoth knows where the old ones broke through and where they shall break through again. This implies that there was some attempt to bar the entry of the old ones into our earthly reality, or that our world is naturally resistant to their intrusion and must be forcibly entered by them. Yog-Sothoth is described as the key and the guardian of the gate by the mad Arab, so it is possible that he must be bargained with before he will allow the gate to open. The usual assumption is that Yog-Sothoth is one of the old ones, but this is not strict. This is not stated explicitly by Lovecraft. And Yog-Sothoth does not appear to be the same as these powerful invisible beings. Perhaps he is a kind of lord or god of the gateway who is set over the old ones, somewhat akin to the Roman god Janus, god of comings and goings. We've talked about that. That's what January 1st really is, the Janus day, not New Year's. It may be that the face he shows when he appears to men is only a symbolic representation of his function, that no one has seen his true appearance, which is akin to other invisible old ones. Al-Hazred mentioned that when these old ones come into our reality, they sometimes interbreed with human beings. This is in keeping with the medieval lore of demons, which in the legends of the Catholic Church was supposed to copulate with mortal women and engender unnatural children or monsters in their wombs. Angels were also supposed to have the ability to breed children from mortal men, but in this case, the offspring were more beautiful and more intelligent than normal human beings. The hybrid children of the old ones vary widely in their nature from those who were in childhood at least almost indistinguishable from ordinary men to those who were almost identical to the old ones themselves. Lovecraft involves the two extremes of such an unholy union. Twin brothers bred upon Lavina Watley by Yog-Sothoth, ritually evoked for that purpose within a stone circle on Sentinel Hill by her father, the old wizard Watley. They were brothers under the skin, but not identical twins. They merely shared the same womb. One brother, Wilbur, was of normal appearance in early childhood, but as he aged, became less and less human. He grew and matured with abnormal rapidity. When he was killed by a dog at age 15, he was over 8 feet tall and furry below the waist, with alien growths on his hips and abdomen, and a kind of tail that terminated in a mouth. The other unnamed brother was never remotely like a human being. He was kept in prison in the gutted Watley farmhouse and sustained himself on blood sucked from live cows. Like his father, Yog-Sothoth, he was invisible. The ultimate purpose, check this out, it's the most important part here. The ultimate purpose of the old ones is sobering food for thought. They wish to strip the surface of our world of all corporeal life, both animal and vegetables, and then take the entire planet to another dimension from whence it fell into our universe countless aeons ago. Sound familiar? Ain't that our objective? This transition will involve a sliding or shifting across the dimensional plane so that the entire Earth became as the bodies of the old ones, imperceptible to normal senses, or as Al Hazred put it, without shape or substance. Lovecraft implied that the Earth will also be taken from its orbit around the sun, so it may be that a transition through space is also involved. The gate that would allow the old ones to initiate the purpose was to be opened by Wilbur Whateley, with the voicing of the long chant which, as old Wilbur Whateley informed his grandson, is to be found on page 751 of the complete English edition of the Necronomicon, the rare John D. translation. So this is what you got going on here. We might speculate as to why the old ones wish to return this planet to the higher dimension from which it fell, and how it came to fall to our lower reality. Is our Earth unique among the planets of our solar system, or perhaps even unique of all the planets in our great galaxy? Does the fall of Earth from its higher place mirror the myth of the fall from grace of the rebel angels who were cast down to a dark abyss for their disobedience? Is the fall of Earth a punishment that the old ones seek to nullify? Do they wish to correct an error? We may speculate about these weighty questions, but Lovecraft provided no information that would allow us to draw any firm conclusions. So yeah, then they go on to tell you how they can't take bodies without human blood, which means they can't incarnate. You know, let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see here. It said the old ones, they were not beings of flesh and blood. They had shape but were not made of matter. When the stars were right, they could travel from one world to another through the sky, but when the stars were wrong, they could not live. When they talking about the stars are right, they talking about the portals, or the conversion. You see what I'm saying? Everything conversion. The great convergence or the great conjunction we've been talking about. Even though the old ones were not alive, old Cashapp remained that neither were the dead. They lay in their stone houses in the great undersea city of Arlea, protected by the powerful spells of Cthulhu, and will rise again once the stars came right. However, they could not break the spells that held them alone, but must have help from some force from outside. Meanwhile, they lay in their stone tombs, awake and aware, but unable to move. That force from outside is your own free will. That's what they're talking about. You have to choose to go within your subconscious mind to awaken these beings. You see what I'm saying? That's that force from outside that they talking about, your free will. Let's see here. When the stars came right, the secret priest of the cult would liberate Cthulhu from his tomb, and then Cthulhu would lift his spell from the old ones and free them from their tombs. So everything is waiting on you, black man and black woman. So yeah. Let's see here. This time will be easy to know, said old Castro, when this will begin to happen. It will be when mankind was beyond good and evil, with laws and morals thrown aside. Mighty Cthulhu would teach men new ways to kill and destroy. All the earth will be engulfed in a holocaust of freedom, which is what you're in right now. Ain't you in a holocaust of freedom or war for freedom right now? Yep. Castro said that in ancient times, the dead, dreaming old ones had talked freely with chosen men in their dreams. But then the island that supported the city of Arlea had sunk beneath the Pacific Ocean, and the great mass of intervening water had severed this cycle link. When the stars came right, the city would rise, and the link would be reestablished with the coat who would come to the place and free Cthulhu from his tomb. So let's see here. Wilbur wrote that the old ones cannot take on bodies without human blood, without mingling with human blood to produce hybrids. We know that. Let's see. And I wrote Anunnaki here. That's who the old ones are. The ancient ones. Us in our primordial forms. Before we incarnate. You see what I'm saying? Or our Ethereal form before we incarnate. You maybe that's the sky dwelling old ones of Yog Sothoth. There you go. The sky dwellers once again. That's Anunnaki. of Yog-Sothoth and the water-sleeping Old Ones of Cthulhu are two different groups having different characteristics, but are at root the same race described by Al-Hazred. The sky-dwelling Old Ones are the Anunnaki, which is us in our ancient form, primordial form, us in the future and in the past when we had access to star travel, when we was at our high occult powers and all that, right? And Cthulhu, the water sleeping Old Ones of Cthulhu, meaning that they're sleeping in the Piscean age. These sleeping gods in the Piscean age, which was the water age of the fish age of water. And they're sleeping, but they hate the water because we hate this age. You see what I'm saying? Due to it being fucked up for us. The energies are bad for us because the stars are not aligned in our favor right now. See what I'm saying? So Al-Hazred wrote that that they walk the surface of the earth unbodied informers and are noticed save for the foul odor that follows them. Yada yada. They revealed body of Wilbur Whatley's brother was described as gelatinous. And his description also applies to Cthulhu as he appeared during his brief emergence from his tomb. Although Cthulhu may not be an old one himself in the strictest sense, he is said by Al-Hazred to be their cousin, indicating a close link with them. Perhaps it would be useful to think of them as two separate colonies of old ones that are bound to the earth by the malign influences of the stars. So they basically saying that us and them, who both these beings are inside of us, the Anunnaki, our angelic forces, and Cthulhu, our demonic forces, is locked down in the same place, which is our subconscious mind. Now then you got the spawn of Cthulhu. Little is known about the means of Cthulhu other than they resemble their gigantic master in shape and substance. They were warlike and vast in number. And at the end, mountains of madness, they are described as a land race of beings shaped like octopi. They filtered down from cosmic infinity and precipitated war with the Krenoa elder things. They may resemble octopi only in part or in one aspect, just as Cthulhu is like an octopus, only in the sense that he has tentacles extended from his face. Note that the spawn are not water. Now check this out. Note that the spawn are not water dwelling, but like mighty Cthulhu himself, were trapped beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean, your subconscious mind, when the island on which the city of Arlea was built sank to the sea floor. That's kind of a reference to Lemuria. Prior to this cataclysmic event, when the stars in the heavens took on a configuration that was harmful to Cthulhu's spawn, they withdrew into stone chambers in Arlea. So they withdrew themselves into your subconscious mind. See what I'm saying? To different realms or portals of your subconscious mind. See what I'm saying? So the city they had built from an alien green stone, the emerald tablets, that shielded them from the rays of the stars. So your heart chakra, the green ray, the green light radiation of your heart chakra is what's been shielding you from the harmful radiation of these stars. That's why you ain't as fucked up as our godlike and demonic aspects. You see what I'm saying? To await the coming right again of the constellations in the night sky. The sinking of the island took them by surprise, and the ocean became their prison. It may be conjectured that the spawn are off-buttons from Cthulhu's own utterly alien substance, and in this sense his children, but only in a way that an amoeba born of cellular fission is considered to be the offspring of its originating cell, or the mushroom grown from a spore is thought of as the offspring of the mushroom that originated the spore. Cthulhu may be likened to a queen bee capable of generating countless smaller versions of himself to perform his labors and serve as soldiers in his wars. Most worker bees are never transformed into queens. Similarly, it may be that most of all the spawn are never destined to develop into giants such as Cthulhu. So yeah, so there you go. So those are the spawn of Cthulhu, which are your demonic forces. Cthulhu is technically your melanin monster, you know, the head monster in charge, HMIC. And the old ones is technically the Anunnaki, or your angelic forces. See what I'm saying? The sky guys, as they call them. See what I'm saying? It all making sense, right? Cthulhu. Let's get to him. Let's talk about him. Whether Cthulhu qualifies for God status is open to debate. And we know Cthulhu represents the primal nigga energy that is currently locked down. So let's clear that up. Whether Cthulhu qualifies for God's status is open to debate, but he was worshipped as a god by human beings. He is an alien creature of immense power from beyond the stars who crossed space to reach our planet. Who is to say that all the gods of our mythologies are not based on alien beings that originated in distant star systems or in other dimensions of reality? When we humans become aware of the power and presence of these beings, we worship them so they become gods to us. What they are in their essence is probably beyond our limited comprehension. In the Mountains of Madness, Lovecraft wrote that a land-dwelling race of beings shaped like octopi filtered down to our planet from cosmic infinity. Peep game here. So that means you don't have no origin. Cosmic infinity. You came straight out the pleroma. That's basically what they saying. Cosmic infinity, long before the evolution of humanity. These beings came to be known as the spawn of Cthulhu. They immediately fought at war with the other things which Lovecraft called the Old Ones in this story. The Crenoid race that had the center of their civilization in their great stone city in Antarctica. Now this is a little conjecture here because it wasn't the Old Ones. The Old Ones and Cthulhu, the spawn of Cthulhu, are one and the same. It was actually the Archons who attacked the beings, our elder beings in Antarctica. You see what I'm saying? For a time, the spawn were able to drive the elder things completely off the land into the sea, but eventually the tide of war shifted and the elder things secured a treaty of peace that sees the new lands arising from the floor of the ocean to the spawn of Cthulhu. By retaining all the old land masses for their old habitations, Lovecraft mentioned in his story that both the spawn of Cthulhu and the Migo are composed of radically different matter from that of the other things, whose bodies are made of more or less normal substances. From this, Lovecraft deduced that the spawn of Cthulhu had originated from even remoter ghosts of the cosmic space that had given rise to the elder things. So they even older in a way. They're even older. Let's see. The center of the civilization of the octopi of the Cthulhu spawn was the island of Arlea, which is Mu or Mu-Ra, or what y'all know as Lemuria, in the Pacific Ocean, where they constructed their great city, their great capital city of the same name. Lovecraft provided the exact location, which is south latitude 47 degrees 9, west longitude 120 degrees 43. Like the Antarctic city of the Crenoid race, with which the spawn shared the earth, it was built of cyclopean blocks of stone, using a strange geometry that defies human understanding. The stone was said to be greenish in color, which is the emerald tablets, generating green light radiation. On Arlea was a mountain, and on the top of the mountain, Cthulhu built his mighty house, surrounded by the house of his spawn. His house was crowned with a green monolith covered with strange hieroglyphics. Sound familiar? Sounds just like the Emerald Tablets, don't it? For ages he dwelled here, sending out his thoughts to control those earthly creatures who worshipped him. Eventually his servants included the primitive race of man. Then a great catastrophe occurred. The rays of the stars in the heavens became poisonous to Cthulhu and his spawn. It seems likely that it also became poisonous to a number of other cosmic beings of a similar nature, forcing them to withdraw from the earth. The alien substances that composed their bodies could not tolerate the shifting alignment of the constellations, or perhaps it was the arrangement of the planets. The histories that tell of the event are not clear on exactly how the stars or planets, which in ancient times were known as wandering stars, went wrong. Only their transformation in the pattern of the night sky forced Cthulhu to place his spawn to a state of suspended animation from which only he had the power to awaken them. See what I'm saying? So this is the shift from the Aryan to the Piscean age. That's what's happening here. He retired inside the protective walls of his great house and placed himself in a similar hibernation that was indistinguishable from death, except that he remained away and dreamed strange dreams, sending his thoughts across the surface of the world to command his worship as before. The death-like sleep protected him, even as the rays of the malign stars destroyed his substance. His dreaming mind rebuilt it and renewed it, so that his body was perpetually reborn. Cthulhu became dependent upon his worshippers to open the door of his house from the outside and liberate him, once the stars again came right in their turnings. Cthulhu could not foresee and the spell. Let's see here. Yeah, I said something about a spell here. Let's see here. Death-like sleep protected him even as the rays of malign stars destroyed his substance. His dreaming mind rebuilt it and renewed it so that his body was perpetually reborn. That's the cycle of reincarnation. Also, the spell that's spoken about here of them falling asleep was actually a Yaldabaoth spell 616. You see what I'm saying? That's why everybody's asleep right now. Oh, it's all here. It's all here. Cthulhu could not foresee that geological event would occur that would sink the island of Arlea to the bottom of the Pacific. The miles of seawater between him and his worships acted as a barrier to his projected telepathic commands, severing the control he held over them. This is the manifestation of the neocortex. That's why he was not able to send out his telepathic communication, because the neocortex was blocking his limbic system, which is where the realm of your pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, hippocampus, and yada 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 yada. You see what I'm saying? So this is what you got going on here. He could no longer summon them at will to Arlea to open the door of his great house, which is the port, which is the gateway to your subconscious mind, which in any case was unreachable beneath the crushing weight of the ocean. He remained aware of what transpired on the earth, but was trapped and helpless. It is perhaps to this condition that the enigmatic couplet in the Necronomicon written by the Arab Abdul Al-Hazri alludes. That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons even death may die. So this is what you got going on here. So that's why you don't have your abilities. This is the story of how this neocortex, this archonic ego, slowly but surely shut down your limbic system and shut down your psychic powers and universal connection. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, in universal consciousness by extension. This is what you got going on here. A sentence written in the ancient language of the great old one describes Cthulhu's frustrating suspension between being and non-being. Oh, we know all about that Cthulhu. Finglui, Maglu, Nafar, Cthulhu, Arlea, Wagar, Nagal, Fatagin. It may be translated in his house at Arlea, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. These words were chanted by the members of the Cthulhu cult in their rituals, for his cult survived even though his mental control over his members was cut off. By the miles of intervening ocean water, a shorter form of chant used by the cult was Cthulhu Fatagin, which was not translated by Lovecraft, but which may mean Cthulhu waits dreaming. So this what you got going on here. Let's see here. Said all of these races vanished either beneath the ground or beneath the waves, but in the first dawn of humanity, their dead bodies revealed their secrets and dreams to their human worshippers. That's where you get all the fucking sciences from, or what they say they got them from fallen angels. This is what they talking about. The sciences still manifested themselves through select beings. Let's see. In the Call of Cthulhu, the sleeping alien is described by his cult as a great priest, but whether he is considered to be the great priest of the cultists or of the dreaming old ones or of the Cthulhu spawn is not completely clear. The obvious assumption is that Cthulhu is the priest of the Cthulhu spawn that lie dreaming in their stone houses around his mountain on sunken Arlea. Perhaps a better description of his role to the spawn would be magician or even scientist. He casts a suspended animation over his spawn that protects them from the malign stars, and only he has the power to lift it. Whether it was done by prayers, magic, or alien science, who can say? These are human distinctions that do not apply to the old ones. He casts an energetic shield over them. You see what I'm saying? To protect them. So yeah. So when you're in tune with your inner Cthulhu energy, your inner monstrous forces, they actually cast shields of protection over you. So yeah. It is possible that the cult remained unaware that the spawn were octoportal, and that the spawn are indeed the same as the old ones they worship. But I believe the old ones are not the same as the spawn. Lovecraft does not clear whether the spawn are octoportal only in the general shape of their heads, as is Cthulhu himself, or if their entire bodies resemble octopi. It may be that they are smaller versions of Cthulhu who have in some manner budded off him or been generated asexually by him. Let's see. The image on one such bas relief was said to resemble at once an octopus, a dragon, and a human caricature. A statue taken from a Cthulhu cult in the swamps of Louisiana was around 8 inches tall, done a type of stone completely unknown, crafted in a type of stone completely unknown to geologists. And it was a soapy greenish black stone. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I'll show y'all a picture of Cthulhu. I ain't got to really read the description of what he looked like. I'm going to show y'all a picture of him. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see here. In the Call of Cthulhu, an upheaval on the floor of the Pacific Ocean thrusts up the sunken island of Arlia so that the monolith in the citadel of Cthulhu that crown a central mountain project above the surface of the waves. This is enough to allow the dreaming Cthulhu to send his thoughts out over the surface of the world to summon his worshippers to release him. His powerful telepathic messages affect not only the minds of his committed followers, but the mind of anyone with a sufficient degree of psychic perception, giving them disturbing and frightening dreams in which they perceive the city with its monolith, and even the form of Cthulhu himself. Before a faction of the cult of Cthulhu made up of Kanakas and half-castes, or Kandakis, can reach the newly risen island in their pirated steam yacht, the alert to liberate their great priest from his tomb, their ship is captured and taken over by the crew of the schooner Emma. In the battle, the Emma is sunk, requiring the 8 surviving members of her crew to transfer. Requiring the 8 surviving members of her crew to transfer to the alert, where they kill all the cultists. They steam on to encounter Arlia and explore it, inadvertently opening the door to Cthulhu's house and setting him free. Evidently, the stars are right at this moment, for Cthulhu is able to venture forth into the open air. It may be speculated that it was the temporary coming right of the stars and their turnings that caused Arlia to rise from the ocean depth. This represents the revolution that happened in the 60s and 70s. The stars are actually aligned, so Cthulhu rose temporarily until he was shut back down during the late 70s. You see what I'm saying? During the late 70s, early 80s. That's why everything got so fucking chaotic again. So yeah. So let's see. The door to Cthulhu's house is like a great barn door in size. Yeah, y'all, they just explaining what it looks like. Let's see here. So he's destined to fully rise and stay risen December 21st, 2020. So when the stars align again for him to rise again. Let's see here. Whether the stars are presently right and the root of Cthulhu over the earth awaits only another rising of Arlia, whether it was the brief coming right of the stars that caused Arlia to rise and their going wrong again that made it descend, Lovecraft did not speculate. He only asserted that the Cthulhu lives and observes, whereas written may sink and what has sunk may rise. So this is the brief awakenings that happened in the 1960s and 70s. So now check this out. In the story, The Mound, Pete Game. So the pyramid, they reference in the pyramid mounds of North America. Cthulhu figures prominently as one of the primary gods worshipped by the people of the Blue-Lin Kenyan, who dwell in an enormous self-illuminated cavern somewhere deep beneath the plains of Oklahoma. The twin ruling gods of the copper-skinned people of Kenyan, who somewhat resemble American Plains Indians, are Cthulhu and the serpent god Yid. Let me read that again. The twin ruling gods of the copper skin, that means melanated skin, people of Kenyan, who somewhat resemble American Plain Indians, are Cthulhu and the serpent god Yid. The reason for the reverence paid to Cthulhu, who in Kenyan is known as Tulu, is the teaching that it was Cthulhu who long ages ago, carried the race of the cavern dwellers across the Gulf of Space to the earth, along with the ritual objects made of dark and lustrous metal, magnetic to itself, that is not to be found on this planet. Let's see. They talking about melanin or nanocarbon. See what I'm saying? Let's see here. So they letting y'all know who what it is here. They letting y'all know. Yeah, so yeah, because yeah, water is the Piscean frequencies, definitely. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up that. Let me see here. Let me go forward. check out something here. Let's see. So check this out, y'all. This is the Kanian, the race of Kanian. Check this out. I just want to read this little poem here. The local Wichita Indians, or the Washita Indians, who saw these apparitions, called them those people, or the old people, or they who dwell below. Chief Great Equal of the Wichitas or Washita specifically referred to them as the old ones. Here we encounter again the generic use of the term old ones in Lovecraft's fiction to designate an ancient alien race. The race of Kanian are intellectually advanced. They use telepathy for communication, although they have not forgotten how to speak with their voices. The Washita, huh? Yeah. And check out. Yeah. Let's see. It said Kanian is inhabited by a race of beings that somewhat resemble the plain Indian, having copper-colored skin and high cheekbones, but their heads are elongated, whereas those of the Indians are round. Indeed, the human race may be genetically related to them. They were carried across the star-swirled planet in the distant past by Cthulhu, who they continue to worship as a god along with the father of all serpents. Yeah, they talking about you. Melanated woman, man, and child. They talking about you. Yeah. So, yeah. They even said how you feel. The inhabitants of Kanian have ceased to be intellectual and have become sensualists who seek only physical and emotional stimulation to relieve the tedium of their endless lives, for they have defeated death and can live forever unless they grow so weary of it that they end their own existence. Yep, that's you. That's what you're going through right now. Let's see. The primary building metal used in Kanian is gold. That was our primary building substance here. See what I'm saying? So, let's see. The insubstantial figures of the race of Kanian are sometimes seen walking on these mounds at twilight, either projected there as images during dreams by the powerful telepathic minds of the caverns. Dwellers are stationed there as guardians of the portals to the lower worlds. So that's what you got going on here. These are all you know, both inner and outer. They also said that they in the inner world as well, or the Danaki. So that's what you got going on here. So that's Cthulhu. That's Cthulhu. He will once again rise again once the stars align again. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Let's see here. Where are we? Yeah, we got Cthulhu. Now Cthulhu is the hidden wife of Cthulhu, according to Kendall Grant. She represents Noon, Isis, or Alset, and is also destined to rise again along with Cthulhu. Cthulhu is the primal Negro's energy that is locked down in the subconscious as well, which is locked down in the subconscious of melanated black women, for the most part. So this you got going on. And they're going to come back to, reestablish the matriarch, to counterbalance the patriarch, which will produce a unilarchy. When the matriarchy and the patriarchy are aligned with each other, they produce a unilarchy. And that's when the force truly awakens. You see what I'm saying? That's how it works. Let me see here. Let me see. This Kendall Grant's book, The Outer Gateways. Y'all want to check it out. It's an ebook. Then y'all can download the PDF if y'all so choose to. Let's see. Chapter on Cthulhu. I'll read a little bit of this. And we gotta keep it moving. Said a word Cthulhu was heard by Aleister Crowley during an initiation into the Aether of Za, which the under. And if y'all don't believe me, the word is this. There go the word right there. Cthulhu. Just in case they don't believe me. You see what I'm saying? It's right here in black and white. And it's and that symbol is the Vesica Pisces, if y'all didn't know. Right here. That's the Vesica Pisces. Well, a variation of it anyway. The word Cthulhu was heard by Crowley during the initiation into the 8th of Za, which he underwent in Algiers on November 24th, 1909. His appearance in his vision of the 27th air suggests a perichoresis with the Necronomicon current. It is probable that the word transcribed by H.P. Lovecraft as Cthulhu is a variant form or corruption of Cthulhu, in much the same way that Corozon is a variant of Khazar and Corozonian. So he received the messages for Cthulhu in 1926. In 1909. Lovecraft got the messages for Cthulhu in 1926. So the feminine always precedes the masculine. So Cthulhu came on November 24th, which is the Aryan energy, Afghan energy, in 1909, right? So Cthulhu came in 1926, if I'm not mistaken, later on down the timeline. So it's not that there's a corruption, it's the masculine personification of Cthulhu. Why have y'all never heard of Cthulhu? If you type her name in Google, don't shit come up. They didn't want y'all to know that there was a feminine counterpart to Cthulhu. You see what I'm saying? The number of Cthulhu, which is, he said, Crowley stated in Libel 418 that Cthulhu could not be translated because the feminine is infinite. The reason for this statement is not clear because in the second eighth of the word is translated without comment. The number of Cthulhu, which is 6612 or 3, is the number of the great work, and Nu and Hod conjoined. Hod, being identical with the god Set, is the throne or seat of Isis, whose name means precisely that, Nu-Hod, is therefore a form of New Isis, and also is Cthulhu. 66 is the mystical number of the Kalipoth. Peep game. 66 is the mystical number of the Kalipoth, the tree of knowledge. The world of shells, which suggested the abode of the deep ones, of which Cthulhu or Cthulhu is supreme. 66 is also the number of the angel Atum, who revealed to Mani the gnosis of the double current. Also by a certain system of gematria, 66 is the number of Awaz, who was Aleister Crowley's high self. It should be noted that the litany contained in Libel 418, which includes the untranslatable word Cthulhu, is related to a formula of Gomorrah 11, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Which indicates, and she was green, like I said, which indicates the backward way and the path associated with the Tawat, or the Wat, the subconscious, like I've been saying. Why did Crowley declare Cthulhu to be an untranslatable word? In the second eighth, there appeared the letter Tufu Tulu, which he translates as whose will shall attain, or who will shall attain, or simply who shall attain. If this was an accurate translation, Cthulhu would then read who shall attain. This may be interpreted as confirmation of the promise of Cthulhu, long-awaited resumption of the throne of the Deep One, i.e. the seat of New Isis. The inclusion in Cthulhu of Fu, meaning will, may have decided Crowley against translating Cthulhu because such a rendering could imply that the use of the 93 current by the Deep Ones in the bid for terrestrial supremacy. So they tell you we are in this bid for terrestrial supremacy. We just gotta wake up. So you know, it gets deeper. It gets deeper, but that's the main thing. You see what I'm saying? You know. And it says the word Cthulhu, which Crowley forbears to translate in one place and in another, renders as whose will shall attain, contains the keys to space-time, spirit matter. The twin T's represent the double current, the toss of the double wounded one, The 3 Vos as Ayin represent the Kabbalistic triple low, Ain Sof R, the mathematic cube root of 0 algebraically glyphed as 3 pi 0. You know, it gets deep. You know, they get real mathematical in this occult shit. so we ain't gonna go no further than that. But now let me show you pictures of Cthulhu and Cthulhu. You know, let me show you pictures here. This is what Cthulhu look like. Let me see, can I erase that glare there for y'all? There we go. This is what he look like. I got another picture. A cool picture of Cthulhu. And now we're gonna get into Cthulhu, who is the secret daughter of Cthulhu and Cthulhu. Cthulhu is the great birther, where all the mothers of the so-called indigenous melanated race will begin to give birth to the great Cthulhu and Cthulhu, who are what we call starseeds today. So once again, the secret is the divine matriarch who is destined to return to her throne and powers once the stars align, converge again. You see what I'm saying? So she destined to return to power. You see what I'm saying? Once the stars align, converge again. So let's see here. Let's see here. And let me go and show you a picture of Cthulhu. This is her in her human form, or her humanoid form, I guess you could say. But we gonna show a little video on her real quick. And then we're going to get into Lovecraft Country after that. And everything else.
Cthulhu, the great dreamer, the sleeper of Earlier, as widely regarded as he is, with his immense and incomprehensible plans with Earth, there is someone perhaps almost equal to he in importance. Someone who is so crucial to the great dreamer's plans that this being lies in the depths under constant guard and protection. This being is the daughter of the great Cthulhu, and her name is Cthulhu, the secret daughter, the secret one. Much like her father, she is a great old one, youngest of Cthulhu's offspring, and she travelled from the star of Zot to Earlier. Due to her incredible importance as part of Cthulhu's master plan, she remains there, under constant guard and protection by Cthulhu's followers. She is integral to Cthulhu's plans by way of continuing their lineage. Not just their lineage, however. If, somehow, Cthulhu were to be destroyed, Cthulhu serves as the vessel for his rebirth. Her destiny and purpose within Cthulhu's plan is simply to ensure he continues to live again. The exact method by which this would occur isn't known. However, it's thought that the moment he dies, Cthulhu will then begin giving birth to the great dreamer once more. A bizarre cycle of death and rebirth by his very own daughter, as she brings her father into the world and thus becomes her grandmother. Sort of. The cycle of Cthulhu and Cthulhu is not too dissimilar to the Ouroboros, the snake that feeds itself. Cthulhu, in bringing Cthulhu into the world, has now sealed himself a means by which to continue his life, feeding his own lifespan and effectively...
Hold on, y'all. Let me put that there. Let me see here. There we go. There we go.
Becoming immortal, much like the serpent that eats itself, consuming its very flesh to continue its life and thus continue feeding itself once more. She's dissimilar to her father, though there are some subtle features that differ. She is essentially a gigantic, red-bodied, black-ringed and six-eyed octopus with small wings. Her arms are weapons unto themselves, and at the end of each of them she has razor sharp claws that, along with the fact she is able to sprout new arms at will, she makes for a menacing foe unto herself. However, it's her father that is the true killer, for Cthulhu is so important to him, his wrath knows no bounds when harm towards her is remotely hinted at. Interestingly, there has been hints that Cthulhu is a would-be bride to Hastur, which would of course be incestuous due to Hastur being the half-brother of Cthulhu. However, this could be the mechanic by which Cthulhu planned to return upon his destruction. But this is just a thought based on the evidence. Now, Cthulhu was created by Brian Lumley and not the great H.P.
We can stop there. He just goes over who she was created by. But we're gonna keep it rolling here. We're gonna keep it rolling. Now let's get into Lovecraft Country and everything else. But first, I want to tell y'all Lovecraft Country is part of a sequel. It's part of a trinity here. You see what I'm saying? You got Prometheus, Cloverfield, and then we gonna get into Lovecraft Country because you need to see all three. So let's start off with Cthulhu's Awakening. Once the stars align again. Let's check that out first. You can see it. It's just a real dark scene. So, let me try it again. That's Cthulhu's Awakening. Notice he comes out of the body of a regular human because the demonic forces are inside you, right? And so he comes out of the body, and then in the movie Cloverfield, it's an unofficial trilogy, you see him rise again. And in Cloverfield, he fucks some shit up. Let me show you this. Cthulhu. Devour his ass. Oh well, that's what you got coming for Judgment Day. That's what they talk about in the Necronomicon text. So y'all gotta go see Cloverfield. That shit, they're savage. You see what I'm saying? That shit, they're savage. So now, let's get to the next scene, which is Lovecraft Country. So now you see Prometheus, he awakened in Cloverfield. That the Judgment Day, Cloverfield is Judgment Day, where Cthulhu and the demonic forces fuck up the world. Now let us see what happens during the Great Infinity War. Check this out. This is where we get into Lovecraft Country. Nightmare. That's the Great Infinity War right there, y'all. That y'all seen. E.T.'s fucking shit up.
What's the matter? Where you going, Black Boy?
Black Boy, we're the welcoming committee. You'd better get out of here.
No, Jay. Go on. It just makes it tougher having you here.
The Return of Sophia.
The year 1928. The time, spring. If you were a young man, your thoughts were undoubtedly turning to those of love. But if you were a young boy, your thoughts were of one thing: baseball.
When they fused together, Cthulhu rose. Keep game. Now you got Jackie Robinson acting as a lower self. And your subliminal rejection of your own godly power and demonic power. There's also Chadwick Boseman. So yeah, there's also Chadwick Boseman. Now, what they scared of? Let me see. I got 5. I got a little time here. Is this scene here?
Began to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. I can't pay no doctor bills, but Whitey's on the moon.
Hold on here. Let me just turn down the brightness a little bit.
I'll be paying still while Whitey's on the moon. You know, the man just off my rent last night because Whitey's on the moon. No hot water, no toilets, no lights. Whitey's on the moon. I wonder why he's upping me. Whitey's on the moon. I was already giving him 50 a week, and now Whitey's on the moon. Jackson's taking my whole damn check.
That's his soul that y'all see.
The price of food is going up. And as if all that crap wasn't enough, a rat done bit my sister Nell with Whitey on the moon. Face and arms began to swell, and Whitey's on the moon.
See how they feed off of you?
I made last year.
To open up portals?
How come I ain't got no money here? Whitey's on the moon.
He actually turned into Cthulhu.
Just about had my bill on Whitey on the moon. I think I'll send these doctor bills. Air mail special. To Whitey on the moon.
There's a lot of things happening in that scene there that's worth talking about. Number one, see how your awakening causes the dream to collapse? The fucking building was the ego. And the Freemasons were the corrupt cabal of coaches who was trying to keep you locked down and feed off your energy to open up portals to other realms so they can go in those realms and fuck shit up like they fuck shit up here. You see what I'm saying? But his ancestral mother or auntie, I think, came to him and she gave him the strength to tap into his own power, take it back, and unleash it in all directions to wipe out these motherfuckers and their whole building. They just showed you this in Project Power as well. They keep telling you that you have to take control of your power, black man, woman, and child. Melanated woman, man, and child. Let's see here. So there y'all go with that. So Lovecraft country, of course, is America or Hemet country. got a little, this little joke going around, little joke meme going around of the dude. They replaced the dude face with Bobby Hemmitt's face, which is always hilarious. Let's see here. By the way, this is Arlea. By the way, if I didn't get a chance to show you how it is, that's Arlea. Alright, we doing good. There's Arlea. That's Agartha, the inner earth. Yeah, that's where the Kenyan are living. Your inner earth brethren. This the scene from the Great Infinity War. Let me just. I should have made sure I made it bigger. As best I can do for y'all, cause my screen cracked. I get another one. Yeah, so that's the scene. Now, let us get into Chadwick Boseman, aka Black Panther. See what I'm saying? Let's get into Chadwick Boseman. What's going on with this energy here? Now, Black Panther is a dual-fold god who is the lion god Epidemic and the actual indigenous American panther spirit, the JoJo. Let me see. Here you go. Here goes the JoJo right here. So now, that's the JoJo, or the Joji, as he's also called. So what you got going on here is they killed this man on Jack Kirby's birthday, who actually is the creator of the Black Panther comics, the real creator. Now, interestingly enough, Chadwick Boseman played multiple historical figures, i.e. Jackie Robinson, which I just seen, number 42, 6 frequency. He played James Brown, Father of Soul, Grandfather of Soul. He played Michael Jackson. I mean, he didn't play Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson's birthday was the next day, which is what the ritual was for, to shut down that energy. Saint Michael. It was an attack on Michael, for real as well. So Saint Michael, his birthday was the next day. So yeah, the war god energy. He also played Thurgood Marshall. See what I'm saying? All these people he played, it was all ritual to shut this shit down. See what I'm saying? Oh yeah, and there's also one of the spawns of Cthulhu, if y'all never seen them, in Cloverfield. Don't want to forget that. So he played Black Panther. Now, as Black Panther, he would go on to become the master of his reality in this case. You see what I'm saying? There go Black Panther. And he became the king of what? Wakanda, the 5th dimension. Which was unabated. So now they telling y'all that he died at the age of 43. But Chadwick Boseman's birthday is not till next month. So he died at the age of 42. But they slapped that 43 on there to make y'all think that he died on that same frequency. This is the Hemet. This is them replacing Bobby Hemmitt. Cuz face with Bobby Hemmitt, or Hemet country. See what I'm saying? Lovecraft country. This is all connected though. He placed they killed him and they slapped the number 43 on there, even though his birthday is not the next month, so he died at the age of 42, which is the same frequency as Jackie Robinson. Now you see where all this shit coming from with this 42 frequency. But they wanted you to think it was 43 because that's the 7th frequency. See what I'm saying? But they had to kill him or sacrifice him because he was poisoned. You know, a lot of people are saying the autopsy report saying that he poisoned. You know, they got a lot of simbots. Pay attention to these Facebook accounts as well. There's a lot of simbots. Whenever these motherfuckers come attack you just out the blue when some shit happening to these celebrities, 9 times out of 10, they are not real people. They are simbots. You see what I'm saying? Fembots and all other kinds of bots there is. See what I'm saying? Coming to attack your page. And they only do it for these celebrities. Pete Gang, they only do it for these celebrities. They pop up out of nowhere. If you click the account, the motherfuckers is either blank or you can't even go to them. You see what I'm saying? You can't even go to them. They ghost accounts. So they attacking you. So they attacked. This is a multifaceted ritual due to the many different connections with that Chadwick Boseman made. You see what I'm saying? Whether they killed him or his clone, you always gotta say that as well. Could have just been his clone that they killed also. So always gotta look out with that. So the many different connections he made with all these ancestors, plus Black Panther, plus all the other movies he did, like 21 Bridges and everything like that, and the Five Bloods, and so on and so forth. It was a multifaceted ritual to shut your energies down. You see what I'm saying? They started with Lovecraft Country to shut down Cthulhu. Because they rose him up, they awakened him in Prometheus, they let him run rampant through the world in Cloverfield, and they had to shut him down in Lovecraft Country. So that's what made Lovecraft part of the unofficial trilogy. You see what I'm saying? So now the next shutdown ritual was they used Jackie Robinson to take down Cthulhu, and then they used Chadwick Boseman to shut down Jackie Robinson's energy. So it was a domino effect. You see what I'm saying? They shut down each one simultaneously. But here's the kicker. You know, when they killed Black Mamba, who is Kobe Bryant, and then they killed Black Panther, so man, it's a running bid between me and some of my spiritual friends. They gonna kill Black Lightning or Luke Cage next, one of the two. See what I'm saying? So we looking out for that ritual next as well, around the Great Convergence in December. So you best believe. So it's a multifaceted ritual going on. Well, since they shut down these energies, they trying to shut you down. You see what I'm saying? They trying to shut you down. But here's the secret here. This ritual here don't really have no energy towards it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, he died. Yeah, we feel bad, but it didn't have not nearly as much impact as the Black Mamba energy with Kobe Bryant. You see what I'm saying? But the whole objective was to feed off your emotions. But they didn't really get no feed off this. Because, yeah, he died, but oh well. You see what I'm saying? We used to y'all assassinating our fucking leaders at this point. So people are waking up to such an extent they not even studying what's happening with these celebrities right now. So the ritual is damn near null and void. They got like a 3-day feed. That's it. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When you woke up today, it's like nothing ever happened, and that's because the energies. People are so concerned with their awakening right now, which is how it's supposed to be, that they're not even studying what the fuck going on in goddamn regular media. So they're gonna try to fucking pump it up, but it ain't gonna mean nothing. If the initial death didn't really mean nothing like that, then the rest of the shit ain't gonna mean nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? So he came to me, he was like, oh, so they wanted to make me the Black Panther. So now I am the mighty Panther spirit, the god of the West Wind, the warrior over here in the West, and goddamn, over there, a Epitomac over there, which is the warrior line. You see what I'm saying? The warrior line energy. So this is what you got going on. So yeah, there you go, Raw. It's a mass ritual to slow down our rising, but it really didn't do shit. It really didn't affect me. It didn't really affect y'all quite sure. We knew that they was gonna do something soon, but we just didn't know it was gonna be this soon. They did it too soon, in my eyesight. Y'all should have waited till goddamn something explosive like Halloween or some shit. They did it too goddamn soon, so we didn't even feel it for real, like we usually would, because it happened too fast. And so since y'all just killed Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba, you know, just a few months ago, you killing T'Challa, who didn't have as much of an impact as Kobe Bryant did. It doesn't hold as much weight. So the ritual is damn near pretty much null and void. See, it's pretty much canceled. And now they really scared because that shit didn't do the damage they wanted it to do. Notice you can usually feel when the misery in the world when somebody like that dies. You don't feel shit this time. You know, it is what it is. Like, oh well, they killed him, and we seen this coming, but oh well, it happened. So it happened the way it happened. So there you go. There you go. So that's what's happening here. So since this ritual didn't last that long, they don't know what the fuck to do now. If that don't make it snap, we don't know what will. So they're a little frustrated right now. They like, well, hey, this ritual ain't got the weight that we thought it was gonna have. So now they gotta think of something else. You see what I'm saying? So this what you got going on here. But now, to wrap this up, I got two more things here. A message from Cthulhu and a message from Cthulhu. How about that? We'll wrap it up. Now, message from Cthulhu. This is what he says. It is my time, come December 21st, 2020, the time of the great convergence. I will be released from my crypt and rise again to bring terror to all the beings who call themselves world rulers, archons now. They will know my power. I will sick my hell spawn, on them, and they will suffer greatly for what they have done to my people, who are the indigenous melanated people across the planet. I will consume them and fulfill the prophecies of the great old ones, primordial deities. Those last few months will be these last few months will be the last of this corrupt society. So you better enjoy it. For when I rise, there will be no mercy. To all my loyal followers, know that I will rise from deep within your subconscious and unconscious mind and erupt out of you with monstrous force. You see what I'm saying? So be ready. So be as ready as possible for my resurrection. Sincerely, the primal nigga forces. Now, let's move on to the message from Cthulhu. The message from Cthulhu. They tried to hide me away, my people, but I'm back now with a vengeance. On December 21st, 2020, I will rise within the minds and hearts of all melanated women across the planet. So be ready, ladies, because we are going to take back what's ours and rebuild the great melanated matriarch. Don't be afraid of me, my children. You have been preparing since the late 80s to receive me, first with Kali, then Hecate, also Sekhmet and Oya. Now it's my turn to resurrect. Resurrect from the tails of the crypt as I rise out of it. So shall you rise out of your slumber. Then me and my mate Cthulhu will wreak havoc on all beings who participated in the fuckery for the past 2,000 years. So it is on. Prepare, my ladies. Get your wands, scepters, and daggers out, because we will be warring with these archons and their system soon enough. Sincerely, the primal niggerist. So there y'all go. These Necronomicon revelations. So yeah. Y'all best believe it's going down. These are the last few months of their society, according to Cthulhu and Cthulhu and Cthulhu. So y'all might as well enjoy this little time, stock up on your food, do whatever you need to do to prepare, practice your abilities. and whatever else you need to do to deal with this system. So next, you will begin upgrades heavily starting September 11th. I'll come back on to do something on September 11th. But on starting September 11th, which is the Ethiopian New Year, which starts 2013, on their calendar, you will begin heavy upgrades and overhauls to your psychic, soul, mind, spirit, and physical body to prepare you for this up and coming great convergence. And we'll talk more about that at a later date. So with that being said, I'm going to go and wrap this up because I only got like 4% left of my battery life. So with that being said, I'm Marvin Jones. Hope y'all enjoyed this Necronomicon Revelations, the Book of the Dead, the Book of Souls. Y'all share this with your friends. Let them know what it is. You know, let them know what's going on out here in these cosmic streets and in these cosmic streets. Right? Let them know what's happening. Also, if you want to check out my other occult lectures, y'all can holler at me at the Midnight Order on YouTube. And also, if you want to Cashapp, donate, y'all want to donate, y'all can Cashapp me at mcjnetwork. And I'm out. Peace.